Hi everyone. So today we'll be discussing about fluorides and fluorides with regards to its usage in dentistry, and we'll get to know further that why fluoride is such a talk of the town when you talk about your teeth. Now to start with, what is it actually? So fluoride is nothing but a chemical element with the name of fluorine, symbolized by the letter F and an atomic number 9. It's the lightest halogen, and in standard condition, it exists as a highly toxic and a pale yellow diatomic gas. But the feature that makes it to be the star of the dentistry is that it is highly electronegative. That means that this element is capable of attracting electron very rapidly. Because of that feature of fluorine, it very rapidly gets attached to the calcium that's present in the inorganic structure of the tooth, or I should say the topmost layer of the tooth that you see, that's called enamel. It's got large amount of calcium, and the layer underneath, that's dentine, that's also got a comparably large amount of calcium. So fluorine, because of its inherent electronegative nature, or I should say highest electronegative nature, gets very easily attached to the calcium that's present in enamel and dentine. And because of that, we get to know later in our later slides that it makes the tooth structure very resistant to the acid attack and cavitating process. Okay, now what does fluoride actually do? Now we'll discuss this in two steps because its mechanism of action is in two ways. First is when it is ingested systemically. That means when you take it from your mouth and it enters your digestive tract. Now the first thing that it does is it gets incorporated into the enamel and dentine of the unerupted teeth. And because of that, it makes the unerupted tooth more resistant to acid attack. And when it erupts in the oral cavity, obviously it will be difficult for the microorganisms to cause decay in that tooth. Second is the fluoride that you take systemically, either in the form of fluoridated water or fluoridated milk, whichever ways, it gets secreted in the saliva. Then it gets accumulated in plaque, and plaque is that microbial layer that is attached on the tooth structure. It's very thin, but it's very tenaciously attached to the tooth structure. Now it gets accumulated in plaque, and there it reduces the microbial acid attack, and it also enhances the remineralization of the enamel layer that's underlying the plaque. Then the third thing that it does is when it's secreted in the saliva, it's even incorporated into the enamel of the newly erupted teeth. That means the teeth that has just erupted in the oral cavity, and it enhances its enamel calcification. That's also called as enamel maturation. So that also reduces the caries susceptibility of the newly erupted teeth. So these are the three steps in which fluoride actually works when taken systemically. Now, the other way that it works is when you apply it topically. That means how we can apply it in the form of fluoride gels or fluoride varnishes, you might have heard about, or fluoride mouthwashes, or the most common one is the fluoride toothpaste. Now, when you're using it that way, what it does is it prevents the future lesion. That means it reduces the chances of having more cavities, number one. It also helps in arresting or at least slowing down the process of already cavitated lesion. That means the already present cavities that are there in the mouth. It prevents or it slows down the progression, I should say. The second thing that it does, it remineralizes the already active incipient lesion. That means the cavity process or the caries process that has just started at the microbial level, it helps in its remineralization also. That means it makes it difficult, or I should say it shifts the curve towards having more mineral deposit than losing the minerals. And the third thing is it in itself has got antimicrobial properties. That means it fights against the microbes that cause cavities. Then comes the question that in what forms can we avail it to have the maximum benefit of fluoride on our teeth. So, for its systemic effect, you can have it as in the form of water. That means you can have fluoridated water, and fluoride is usually present in water. But in certain states in India, there are certain states wherein the concentration of fluoride is less in water. For states like Rajasthan, for states like Andhra Pradesh, they have got extremely low fluoride. So, where you see that the fluoride content is low in water, you need to have specifically fluoridated water. Otherwise, fluoride is generally present in the water that we get in the community supply of our state. The second is you can even have fluoridated milk. But in children who have not that much of fluoride in the water that they take, or who cannot have systemic fluoride as per the requirement of the body, then they can also be prescribed fluoride supplements. So these three will work systemically. Then we also have fluoride gels, fluoride mouthwashes, fluoride varnishes, and the most common is the fluoride toothpaste. So these are the things which will function topically, as I've just discussed in my previous slides. So again, to be very precise, these are always to be selected under the guidance of your dentist. Now, this is the prescribed, or I should say, the recommended American Dental Association recommended fluoride supplement chart. I have just attached it for the sake of your knowledge, but the fluoride supplements are always to be prescribed by your doctor, by your dentist, and should never be taken on your own just by following this chart. So that's it. I hope you were able to find it understandable and informative, and it was enlightening for you to understand how and why fluorides are important in dentistry. Take care. Thank you.